Let's go.
This is turning into one of the weirdest shows I've ever done. It really is.
Catch me if you can, goddammit. Catch me if you can. You hear me?
Will Noonan's so funny and I'm after him, so I guess I'm after Noonan.
You're listening to Hypothetically with Will Noonan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you for listening to Hypothetically with Will Noonan. That's me. I'm coming at you right now from my car, the old Honda 2006 Honda Accord sedan, cruising down 95 south, heading to Providence, Rhode Island, to go do a little show at the Providence Comedy Connection. Do I sound different? Does my voice sound different? Does my whole fucking chi and, sense of self sound different? Because this is the first time since I've been doing this podcast that I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I don't fucking smoke them anymore, man. They're gone out of my life. Cigarettes are gone. It's a whole long story. It's been a little bit of lead up. But yes, this is my voice. As of today, 14 days and 12 hours or so, I have not had a cigarette, not a single puff of a cigarette, not a drag off someone else's cigarette, not a cheat cigarette. I still got, Jesus, you hear that motorcycle going by me? Sounds like shit. There's a guy named Will, who is me, and I have a half a pack of cigarettes sitting in my dresser. That was the pack I quit halfway through, and I was like, I'll keep these as if I really need to hit the panic button, if it's that bad, if I freak the fuck out, I'll have one, and those have remained untouched. I've done a bunch of shows. I've driven a bunch of miles. Haven't had a single drag of a cigarette in over 2 weeks today. And it feels really good. So why did I do it? Why did I fucking do it? Well, I've been meaning to do it forever. For a really fucking long time. Smoking cigarettes, not a great look anymore. That's the number one reason, right? I started because it looks cool, and now I'm finishing because it doesn't look cool anymore. It's pretty much the crux. Thank you guys for listening. No one told you they love you today. I do. Just kidding. That's not the end. But it would have been funny if it was, but it's not. We got like an hour more fucking podcast coming at you. But listen to me. Listen to me, motherfuckers. I really like not being a cigarette smoker. That's the funny part. It's been like 3 weeks since I put out a podcast, and I know I've been doing it every 2 weeks, and I swore up and down, like with my hand on a Bible, that I would start putting them out every week. But the truth is, I've been busy as fuck. I know I say that every time, but whatever. I'm a busy motherfucker. I got other things coming that you don't even know about yet, that I'm working on, that are going to be cool. And I'm just doing a lot of stand-up. And I just haven't been in the mood to do a podcast lately because I've been so sick of Will fucking Noonan, man. I'm so sick of this guy talking all the time and writing all the time that I don't want to spend any of my free time doing this podcast, which is stupid because it's not my free time. I know people listen to it. I know people enjoy it. And I enjoy doing it. Every single time I fucking do it, when it's over, I'm like, what a good time that was. And I love putting them out and getting the emails from you guys. And I love getting fucking donations from you guys. I got a donation that I got to read out in a second. And all that stuff. But I also just love hearing that you guys like the show. And then, of course, when I don't put one out, you guys are good. You wait like 3 days. If I don't put one out for 7 days, no one says anything. But like, as soon as it starts creeping around day 9, 10, I'll start getting the texts from the people that really know me who listen to it will text me. The people who have me on Twitter, they'll tweet me. Some people will email, but they'll start creeping in Where are you? Where's the fucking podcast? And then I feel bad because I'm like, I'm one of those people who listens to podcasts. I listen to Joe Rogan's. I listen to Bert Kreischer's, who will be mentioned really shortly on this show. But I listen to theirs, and I get pissed if they don't put out an episode for a while. Especially Kreischer used to do it like I'm doing it right now. He used to put them out. He used to take breaks when he was busy. Fitzsimmons occasionally would take a week off, but other than that, people are pretty good about it. I don't know what my fucking problem is. Probably because there's demand, but there's not so much demand. Like, I get a few thousand downloads every episode, which is great. 5,000 downloads is great. It's a great amount of people that I'm getting to. But compared to these fucking Kreischers and Rogans and Bill Burrs of the world, I mean, there's not like this huge, like, I got ads, I got sponsors, I got money coming in that I gotta fucking take care of. It's more like, I don't feel like doing it right now. But I also got a little bit lazy. But you know what? All this, who gives a fuck? All this, who gives a fuck? Shit! We're here to talk about smoking. I don't know why I kind of got Asian there. Maybe it's my new, clean, submissive lungs that made me feel like it was time to do an Asian accent, but anyway, thank you guys for bugging me when I don't put out a podcast. That's what I think the crux of everything I just said was. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jessica Hudson, who sent in a donation of $20 this past week. I appreciate it. She's listening to an episode that's 2 weeks old where I'm talking about how much money I spent on my car. She sent in $20. Jessica Hudson, I appreciate it. She wrote, "It's not much, but hey." And you know what? It is much, Jess. It's awesome that you donated $20. If everyone who listened to this thing donated $20, I'd have 10 grand, and that would be really helpful to my life. But time will come. That's why I drive around all the time and do comedy gigs. But anyway, let's get to smoking. Cigarette smoking. Well, the reason why I decided to finally pull the trigger on quitting smoking, which is something that I've been trying to do, to be honest with you guys, for a really long fucking time. I mean, I've been smoking Parliament Lights or Parliament Ultra Lights for like fucking years. 5 years. And the reason why I started smoking that brand of cigarettes was because I was trying to quit. I remember I used to be a Camel Light smoker. And that's after being in high school. I was a Camel smoker. And then Camel Lights. With brief flirtations with Marlboro Red. There was a little time I did some American Spirit. But most of the time, over my smoking career, Camel Lights. And then I was like, all right, it's time to start getting healthy around here. Let's switch over to Parliaments. More British, more aristocratic. Everyone knows they're like not as harsh. And I switched over to the Parliament Lights. And those weren't doing the trick. I smoked those for like a couple years, and I was like, all right, man, it's time to get really serious about quitting. So then I switched to Parliament Ultra Lights, which I've been on for a couple years, and I'll tell you, those ones are really... those are the ones I kind of miss, because by the end there, for the last couple years, I'm really not smoking like a heavy cigarette, so I'm not feeling it as much. I'm not like feeling like shit all the time. I'm not like super, they say that there's no science behind light cigarettes and ultralight cigarettes and that they're all equally bad for you, but us smokers know that's a bunch of fucking malarkey, because when you smoke a Marlboro Red, that you feel considerably different than if you smoke a Parliament Ultra Light. Or let's not even keep it brand. Let's say you smoke a Marlboro Ultra Light, you're going to feel a whole lot different than if you smoke a Marlboro Red. They are stronger, they got more tar, they got more fucking nicotine, and you can feel it. And you can feel the difference. When you're out there, when you're a Parliament Light smoker like me for the past couple years, if I was out and I wanted to bum a cigarette off somebody, and they just gave me whatever, if they gave me like a Marlboro Red or a Newport or something, I'd be like, oh well, and I'd smoke it, and I could barely even smoke half the thing without being like starting to get kind of ill. So, in a sense, I was kind of like a pussy-ass, not really smoking smoker, but at the same time, I was smoking about a pack and a half of these Parliament Ultralight cigarettes a day. And that's the average. You know, yeah, some days I'd have days where I only smoked 1 pack, or not even a whole pack. But then I'd have other days where I'd go, like, especially when I would be working in a casino or someplace where I could smoke, and I could easily smoke 2 packs a day, especially on the road alone, and with a lot of driving. Easily could smoke 2 packs of those in a day. That's like $24, just burning it up and throwing it out at a time. I did not realize how much money I was spending on cigarettes. Like, I knew in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I spent a lot of money on cigarettes, but I didn't even really because I never calculated it because I didn't want to really know. But man, because so much money. I'll get to it. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, tried to fucking quit for a really long time. You know, it's a hard thing to quit smoking cigarettes. People will tell you it's one of the hardest things to quit. Drinking, I quit drinking 8 years ago. That was really fucking hard too. And yes, in a way, cigarettes was harder, but in a way, not even close to as hard. I can't really give you a straight answer on that one. My experiences with the two were so different from each other, and personally, I was at such a different spot, but I don't know how to compare those two, but the reason why I really stopped was because I've been looking for a reason. I've been meaning to. I mean, I run, I meditate, all these things that involve breathing, and this whole time I'm still smoking cigarettes. Now, why? First question is why? Why smoke cigarettes at all? Well, Mr. Questions, I'll tell you. The answer is I started young, like everyone, when I was about 14 or 15. I was miserable at that time. I was in an all-boys Catholic school I didn't want to be in. And I was looking for something cool to do. Something to just say, fuck the world. And I was a big fan of James Dean. I wanted to be an actor. I'd already decided I wanted to be an actor. I was probably around 13, 14 years old. And I kind of knew that smoking was a thing actors did. Because James Dean did it, and all those people and all those cool photos did it. And at the time, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, who will be mentioned later probably in this podcast, were, winning Oscars and shit. And I was like, man, these guys smoke, and they're cool. And it was just a very smoky time in America for celebrities and stuff. And I was just like, smoking's cool. I want to do it. I'm an unhappy motherfucker at this all-boys Catholic school outside of Boston. Like, let's smoke. I don't know. I was probably around 14, 15 years old when I really started to smoke. I think I'd had a cigarette, in 6th grade or something and tried it, but it was something I really kind of got to admit I wanted to do. Like, I was like, you know what? I got to find a way to start smoking. I need to get someone to buy them for me. I need to get a lighter. I need to get this lifestyle together. It was almost like the way someone starts an exercise routine as an adult. I was like, as a teenager, I was like, I need to get my shit together and start smoking, man. Come on, you're falling behind. So I remember that feeling. And it starts off very shittily at the beginning. I remember being a kid and not really enjoying it, but I remember a girl I was dating kind of teaching me how to do it. She was like, you inhale. She smoked menthols, which made her mouth taste fucking disgusting. Which is funny from a fellow smoker, but those menthol ones are even nastier. So she kind of taught me how to do it, and then it was like a little while of not liking it that much, and then like one day you're just like, cigarettes. You just love it. Every single time you smoke one, you love it. And I'd say I kept that up straight through high school, into acting school, smoking butts the whole time. And moved to LA after acting school. I was smoking butts then. And then I moved back to New York, and I was waiting tables and trying to be a bartender until I became a karaoke guy, smoking all that time. And then all the way until about 9 years ago or 10 years ago, I decided to quit. I remember, though, it was like a real easy situation. I had some sort of flu or some sort of like really bad, probably like sinus infection or something that I just didn't go to a doctor for. But I just remember I was like really sick for like a week. Like I couldn't get out of bed for a few days. And then I was so sick sometime in like 2008 or 2007 where I just couldn't smoke cigarettes. And I didn't smoke for like a week. And then when I came out of that, I was like, all right, I guess I just don't smoke anymore because I'm not going to like restart smoking after a week of not smoking. That's just stupid. So I decided to fucking, not smoke. And then I just started drinking more. Probably not because of the smoking, but just coincidentally, that was when the drinking really picked up. But when I quit drinking, I was like a year off of cigarettes. And I think there may have been one other period of time in there where I didn't smoke for like a 9-month period of time. So like, let's just say from age, and then I didn't smoke for a year and a half, and then I started dating this chick who smoked, and then I started again. And that was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. So I've probably been smoking butts again for 6-7 years straight, but off and on since I was about 15. So you can say 20 years of smoking with a couple, just a couple breaks in there. One for 9 months, one for a year. So those breaks could actually fucking like end up saving my life one day. Because this shit fucks you up. And I really, really started to realize it like about a week after I quit. Just how quickly my body was just feeling so much better and all kinds of things were changing. But I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, man, so I'd probably tried to quit smoking a couple times in the past year with no luck. Like not even making it 24 hours. That's really the toughest part, I think, is that first 24 hours. And I just couldn't do it. But then I heard, about this SoberOctoBert thing that's going on with Bert Kriescher, Joe Rogan, Tom Segura, and Shaffir. Now, I don't really know any of those guys, like personally, but I know Rogan and Kriescher through Twitter, especially Bert Kriescher. Joe Rogan's just been a good dude to me. He's just sort of helped me with some retweets and stuff like that over the years. But Kriescher, he is like just a little more friendly, I guess, to me, or doesn't have like a bajillion Twitter followers. So me and him have like gone back and forth on Twitter. He sent me a nice Snapchat one time. And he's just a good dude, and I'm a big fan of his. And I've always kind of secretly hoped he would get his drinking under control, because I think he's just one of the funniest guys ever. And I didn't want him. Sometimes when I listen to him on his podcast and other people's podcasts, a lot of times I'm like, this guy drinks the right way. He knows how to do it. He's the good kind of drinker. And then other times I'll listen to him say a certain something, and I'm like, ooh, that sounded a little dark and alcoholic-y. I hope he's not too, going down that road too much. So this guy I barely know, I was concerned about his drinking, but that's really kind of a selfish thing, because I just like his comedy and I like the stuff he puts out, so I wanted it to continue for a really long time, and didn't want to see this guy die young. So I was happy that they were doing SoberOctober for Bert Kriescher, and then it kind of came into like this challenge type thing with Tom Segura, Joe Rogan, and Shaffir also quitting booze and marijuana. And they're doing hot yoga classes, and it's like this whole thing to better themselves. And then listen to Joe Rogan's podcast if you don't already. It's super fucking good, but you can find out about all this stuff on there. So that it was just good stuff. And I noticed through Bert Kriescher's Twitter, like a lot of people were starting to join up, and a lot of fellow comedians and fans of theirs were like, you know what, I'm gonna do it too, and I want to be a part of this, and I've been treating myself too bad for too long, and I was like, man, I kind of want to do it too, but I mean, I've already quit drinking. I smoke pot, but I don't think it's something I need to give up. It's not something I really like depend on, and it's not like a hindrance in my life in this big way. And yeah, I could give it up, but it wouldn't really be that crazy of a thing. But then I was like, fuck, smoking. That's something I've been trying to quit. It would really be a challenge for sure, but it would be something new to throw into the mix. I've tried to quit so many times, but maybe having Bert Kreischer and Joe Rogan and Ari Shaffir and thousands of other unknown people all quitting their shit at the same time as me, maybe that'll help me feel better. I don't know, right? I'm like, it can't hurt. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna do, But I was like, I'm not gonna say anything until it's been like a week, because I don't want to just say something day one, and then I think I tweeted to Bert, like, I'm gonna try and give up smokes with you, but hopefully forever. I said I'm gonna try, hopefully forever. I think I said that like a couple days before, but then I didn't want to like tweet shit out every single day or let everyone know every minute until I had at least gotten like a week under my belt, because I was just like, afraid that I wouldn't do it, and I didn't want to like work everybody and trick everybody. So I was like, all right, just do this quietly, Didn't tell any of my friends, anybody, until I had about 7 days, because I didn't want anyone. I just wanted to do it sort of for myself, see if I could really do it, and also part of this challenge. So anyway, I fucking I made it, man. I made it. October 1st, the night before, I bought 2 packs of cigarettes, like on September, 2 days left in September. I was like, I'll smoke these. And this weird thing started to happen, where even though I knew it was my last, every cigarette was one of my last, hopefully, I bought an extra pack of cigarettes because I was like, I'm going to smoke a shitload this day before I quit. I'm never going to smoke again or whatever. So I like overbought cigarettes, but truth was, I wasn't even feeling them that day. I was already kind of falling into the idea of not doing it anymore. I'd smoke a half a cigarette, I'd put it out, feel gross. And that night, I went to bed that night. I set my quit timer on this app I got called fucking, what the fuck's it called? It's really good. I want to actually get the name so I can tell you guys. If you're thinking about quitting smoking, I would use this app. It's really good. It's called Smoke Free. It's got a little green heart on it. Free app, really fucking good. Keeps all your stats. So I'm like, I'm gonna start this thing in my sleep at like 4 a.m, so I can kind of like go in there and go to sleep. But to be honest with you, I fell asleep around 2, so I got 2 hours of smoke-free living that aren't even on record right now. But as of this moment, like, I'm looking at the app right now, which is probably not a good idea because I'm driving a car and recording a podcast, but I've got 14 days, 15 hours, and 14 minutes. But this app is great because it tells me I've saved $248.51. I'll save over $6,000 this year. It keeps all these stats for you. It tells you how much, where your health is at. It's like, oh, you've quit for 2 days. That means like 50% of the nicotine is already out of your body. And your teeth are like 10% back to normal. And it gives you all this cool shit that you can kind of look at all the time if you start to get a craving. And the thing is, these cigarette cravings, motherfuckers, they only last about 15 minutes. If you can make it through 15 minutes, you can make it through quitting smoking. It's like 30 or 40 15-minute cravings. And then after that, and each craving is only, like, they get less and less bad as time goes by. So let me tell you what I did with my first 24 hours. I did not want to tell my roommate, Pat, that I was quitting for a multitude of fucking reasons. Reason number one was I just wanted to see how long it would take him to notice. Pat is kind of self-involved at the moment. He's not really noticing the outside world or other people or their problems very much. He's not really in tune to that at this time. Not much of a conversationalist, not listening when he has a conversation, interrupting. Pat's kind of doing his own thing right now. I could do a whole podcast on that because he's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit lately. Which maybe because I quit smoking. Who fucking knows? But to be honest, that's a whole nother fucking podcast. Pat's like on a whole thing right now. So I was like, let me see if I can not tell him. See how long it takes him to notice. I actually thought he would notice really quickly. He has still not noticed, and today is 2 weeks. He has not noticed. And this was a guy who used to complain about the fact that I smoked in the house. So that's what's funny about it to me, that this thing he didn't like is gone and he didn't even notice. Interesting. But that was reason number one I didn't want to tell him. Reason number two I didn't want to tell him, and this is a good one for you guys if you don't want to tell people. I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want anyone. This is probably a reason I didn't tell him or anyone. I didn't want people to see me do anything negative, like maybe be a little bit miffed about something, or a little bit upset about something, or a little bit like fucking unhappy about something, and have them blame quitting smoking all the time. Because that's what happens when you quit smoking. Someone will be like, hey, fuck you, and you're like, ugh, you're a dick, and they're like, oh, whoa, sorry, Mr. Quit Smoking. You know, they're just looking for a reason to point out the fact that you're being a little cunty because you quit smoking. So I didn't want that. I didn't want to give anyone that currency to spend against me. Typical Irish prick. Don't give him any fucking ammo. Don't give him any ammo to throw at ya. Just fucking quit smoking and be sad by yourself. So that's what I did. That was reason number two I didn't want to tell him. And reason number three I didn't want to tell him was because I just didn't. It kind of falls into reason number two. I just didn't want someone watching me and being like, what's going on with him? Because my plan was to pretty much stick around the apartment for the first couple days, other than exercise and stuff. Because I didn't. My two real smoking triggers, I've noticed, are driving the car and dicking around at comedy shows. You know, waiting to go on stage, waiting to fucking for the next guy to fucking pay you or whatever. There's a lot of waiting in show business, and that's when I would really smoke a lot of cigarettes. So I noticed that. So I was like, all right, gotta do 24 hours just kind of chilling, getting some exercise and some air and keeping yourself busy, doing some laundry and cleaning up and shit. But, don't go to a comedy show where you'll be tempted to smoke. Don't take a long drive where you'll be tempted to smoke. And I decided to just stay in and watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with old Patty and sort of fight the urges to smoke. And that's what I did. I smoked weed, and I've continued to smoke weed this whole time. And I'll say I've probably have increased the amount of weed I smoked by about 10% or 20%, but nothing major. I did think, and I have been mindful of the fact, like, all right, don't just smoke weed now, like, in replacement of this. Don't smoke weed like crazy. But the truth is, you can't smoke weed, upwards of 40 times a day like I could with cigarettes. So that would be impossible. But I did add probably about 2 or 3 more, tokes, hits of weed a day. But I think that'll it's already really kind of begun to recede as we enter week 2 here. But I had some pretty bad cravings the first day. They weren't that bad though. I'll be honest. I know I listened to last week's episode. I'm working on saying I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a guy alone in a car talking to my fucking podcast. Let's be honest. I'll be honest. This is all honesty. It's a fucking one-man show. It's honest central. So I don't really need to tell you guys, to be honest, but sorry, it's something I'm working on. I just quit smoking. Give me a fucking break. So, to be honest, what was I talking about? Quitting smoking. Oh, yeah. Big part of this was preparation. I keep telling people that. I didn't just smoke, and then decide October 1st I'm going to put them down. I have been consciously trying to smoke less for about a month or two. I did this thing for a while. I think I talked about it on the podcast where I was trying not to smoke during the daytime. Started with weed for me for a while, and I was like, oh, it worked out so well with weed. Maybe I'll try it with cigarettes, and or at least as a way to phase down. I was trying to do this thing where I was cutting down the amount of cigarettes I would smoke in a day to trying to cut down on the amount of cigarettes I would smoke in a day to make it less bad when I would quit, which would kind of work and not work. I'd have days where I'd only smoke like 7, 8, 9, 10 cigarettes and feel like, hey, I didn't smoke that many cigarettes today, but I feel like I would almost always make up for it the next day and smoke more than normal, or just smoke like furiously because I had been deprived in some way. But the biggest thing, I was gonna say the biggest side effect I've noticed is that I'm thinking a little bit more slowly. I think that'll pass too, but that whole like zip zap zoom of nicotine is definitely an enhancer. It's not so noticeable that I'm like, I feel retarded. Some people told me, excuse me, burping, indigestion's another part of quitting smoking. Some people told me that I'd feel like a fucking retard most of the month, or most of the first month, but I wouldn't say that's true. I would say that was kind of true for that first day or two, though. I was like it almost felt like I had a really bad cold or something. Like, you just kind of feel spacey and out of it. I really can barely remember the plot line of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was almost like I wasn't fully there. I chewed a lot of gum. I ate some good food. I went for a run that day. But like I was saying, the months leading up to this with cutting down on the smoking, I've been meditating 3 or 4 days a week, if not more. And I've been running for a couple years now. So, like, all those things combined, I think, made it so I'm ready to quit smoking. Because I was starting to, through fucking meditation, starting to be like, dude, what are you doing with smoking? Like, you don't like it, and you're still just doing it all day, every day. And it was kind of like, not to fucking pat myself on the back, motherfuckers, but getting a good hold lately on my thoughts and impulse controls and all that kind of shit. Because of the hard work of meditation, I started to actually get the confidence of like, you know what, man, you're good enough with your fucking mind right now that you could probably quit smoking. Like, you could probably fight that within your mind and win. So I was kind of proud of that. I was like, man, maybe I can. So all those things were already kind of bouncing around in my head. And then Bert Kriescher and Joe Rogan and Ari and Tom Segura, they all decide to do SoberOctoBert. And I'm like, and I'm seeing it on Twitter and everything, all the stars kind of aligned. And it was also my birthday this last week. And I'm like, I'm getting older. I didn't want to be smoking at this age. I tried to quit on my last birthday and I couldn't do it. It was like all these things were lining up. I was like, you know what? October 1st is the fucking day. Putting the smokes down. And I did. And it was fucking a great, great decision. I feel so good. It's only been 2 weeks. I feel like a new man. Here's the skinny on good things that happen to you when you quit smoking. Because I will say it's not as quick of goodness as when you quit drinking. You really feel great within I don't know, 3 days. You feel like a new man. If you're like a really, really bad drinker, like I was, after 3 days you feel like a completely new man. I wouldn't say that with cigarettes, but after about a week I felt like a completely new man. But here's the changes that I've noticed with me. almost immediately. Anxiety level dropped 100%. I know that sounds fucking nuts, because it sounds fucking nuts to me, because 50% of the reason I was still smoking was I was like, well, this shit chills me out, and if this shit chills me out, like, I need as much as I need every tool in this tool shed that chills me out available at all times. I need all the chill out tools right here, right? So that was a fucking lie that I was telling myself, because that was really clear within a few days. Like, once this sort of anxiety of not having a cigarette in your hand goes away, you feel a level of calm and a level of, really after 3 days, all the nicotine is gone, so you're not even craving that shit anymore in a real way. Any cravings you have after that is mostly psychological. You might have a few little 1%, like, chromosomes of fucking nicotine banging around in your fucking DNA, but for the most part, you're out of that shit. Your body's been wanting it for 3 days. It hasn't gotten it. It's given up on that and is now making its own dopamine again, and its own, like, repairing all the shit. That's what the cold you get when you quit smoking. You kind of get a runny nose, and, like, you get a cough, and you get some sinus shit, and it's all because your body is, like, cleaning itself for the first time since whenever you weren't smoking. It's like starting all over, and it's fucking that's kind of a gross process, but it feels good. You're like coughing up all this old ass fucking phlegm that's probably been in you forever. You're like taking showers, all this shit is coming out of you, out of your nose and out of your fucking ears, everywhere. It's like your body just empties out like gunk that it's just been holding. That takes a few days. My hands, like, I've had shaky hands for so fucking long that I just thought I had kind of shaky hands, and I've tried to manage it with coffee. I'm like, maybe it's the coffee that's doing it, and I'm like, it's probably the coffee, and then I'm like, maybe it's the antidepressants. I thought it was fucking everything giving the hands a little bit of shake, but it's not. It was the fucking cigarettes. As soon as I stopped smoking cigarettes, my hands stopped shaking. And that was probably because I was addicted to nicotine, and my hands would shake when I didn't have it. What else? What else is good? Like running, obviously, like, obviously I can breathe a little bit better. I think I was already doing all right because I was like a smoker / runner. So I was already kind of like ahead of the game by smoking and running. Not at the same exact time, but during the same day and shit like that. But, like, it only took about 3 or 4 days of not smoking to feel it on runs. Like, breathing much easier. But, yeah, my hair feels nicer. My nails are harder. My fingernails and toenails are, like, harder. A lot of weird shit, and it's only been 2 weeks. My eyes are brighter. It's a whole lot of stuff that you don't even think about. It's kind of just like making you a little sick all the time. Like, my skin looks good. Like, I just look healthier in this general way and feel healthier in this general way. So that's nice. And I'm actually trying to enjoy every minute of that, because that's the fun part about quitting something. Like, in a few months, all of this will feel normal, and then I'll get a cold or something, and I'll be like, man, life isn't that great, huh? But right now I'm trying to enjoy the fact that, like, I've done a great thing here for the old Will Noonan body, the old meat vehicle, and it feels good. I'm trying to enjoy that. So anyway, Bert Kriescher, when he found out that I was actually doing it and quitting smoking, he was really cool about. He retweeted me when I said to him, I'm like, hey man, quit smoking, I'm with you. 1 week in, this is fucking rad. And then he retweeted that. He was like, holy shit. I think he was really impressed that giving up smoking, because that's so hard. And not to mention, he's just a good dude, and he sees the goodness in a thing like this. Like, all these people getting together and just improving together, that's fucking like a beautiful thing. It also makes me laugh because, like, how much has comedy changed in 20, 30 years? Like, it used to be all about coke, drugs, and drinking, and fucking, and all these crazy things. And now it's like the top 4 comedians in the country are like, let's all quit drinking together. Let's all try a month of health and sobriety together. Just goes to show how much things have changed. But I just think that's because the world is so fucked up. Like, we gotta you gotta be healthy to, like, counteract it all. When life is good, that's when you can get fucked up, and the economy's booming, the stock market is like at an all-time high, when unemployment's at an all-time low, and houses are cheap. Get fucked up, drink, smoke weed, do coke, worry about it later. But right now it's like everything is like looking like awful. So it's like, let's get sober so we don't have panic attacks. That's pretty much what's going on with me. But yeah, man. So quitting smoking was awesome. And then fucking Bert Kriescher went above and beyond and mentioned my name, said my name on the Joe Rogan Experience, which is probably the most popular podcast on earth, and definitely the most popular of people I know. And I got so many texts from all over the country from friends who were like, hey, I just fucking heard you on I heard your name on Joe Rogan. That is so fucking cool. And it was cool. And I think, to be honest, I think I would have quit smoking and stayed with quitting and stuck with it anyway, because I was enjoying the benefits of it. But now, I mean, I feel like I really can't give up, because I got some of Kreischer's fans, following me and letting me know that they think it's cool that I'm quitting. Kriescher mentioned it on Joe Rogan. I don't want him to go on again and be like, yeah, it turns out Noonan fucking welched on it and started to smoke again. It's like, I'm happy to be done with this shit. I'm happy to be part of Sober October. And when it's over, I don't think I'll be, smoking any butts. I don't think when November 1st comes, I'm going to be like, throw a cigarette in my mouth. Now, maybe not. I don't know. I might want to just have one once in a while after a particularly bad set. But to be honest, did it again. To be honest, TBH, I do not want to, do that as of right now. I don't want to get myself fucking addicted again. And I like the idea of being healthy in that way. And smoking weed is giving me enough of like what I need, which is just sometimes I just need to breathe some fucking smoke, man. I'm just the kind of guy who needs to breathe some smoke once in a while. So that's the story. That's the story of me quitting smoking and SoberOctoBert. And I notice people are jumping in right now, even on. I just got a text actually from one of the dudes, Matthew P. Brown. He's wow, what synergy this is. He's like, hey, I want to do another ep of the pod and talk about your SoberOctoBert. See, you do positive things, and positive things happen to you. That's so weird though that I was talking about him at the moment he texted me. But anyway, so I'll probably end up saying all these same things again on his, but Matt's a good interviewer and a good guy. But yeah, it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I'll say that, guys. If you're out there and you want to quit smoking and you just think you can't do it, you can. It's really not as bad as I think if you go into it right, and you plan it all accordingly and do the right thing, you can get it done. You have a good mental. If you're going into it in a good mental place yourself, like, all right, I can do this. I'm gonna have a good time doing this. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna feel better. But when you're just like quitting so you can get your girlfriend to shut up or your parents or whatever, it's not the same, and it's not gonna work out as good. So you gotta find some self motivation to do it, I think. And if that's me, if I can help you, if you want me to tweet you and retweet you like Bert does me, I will gladly do that for you. So hit me up, willnoonan.com. All right, we got about 15 minutes left in the old podcast, so let's talk about what's going on in the news. Well, actually, I want to talk about this weird little incident. Something I've noticed since last week. There was another tragic fucking mass shooting, which, god damn it, if I said it on this podcast once, I've said it 1,000 times. Stop releasing these guys' names and information about them to the media, and stop mass shootings. It's that simple. Black and white. Stop making these motherfuckers famous. Stop mass shootings. Because if they didn't get fucking credit for it, and they didn't get national headlines, even after they're dead, they don't give a fuck about that. They just don't want to go out losers. But that's my fucking statement. I've said it for years on this show. Stop releasing the names of the shooters. Stop releasing details about them, and you'll stop mass shootings. But this is just a little podcast. No one wants to listen to what the Unabomber, the fucking now non-smoking Unabomber, has to say. But that's the fucking truth. That's the fucking truth. But anyway, this guy in Vegas was a fucking psycho asshole. That's the kind of things we should be calling. We shouldn't even give him cool names like Shooter. I've said this before in the past. We should give him a funny name like Coward or like Vaginal. Let's not make it a sex thing, right? Coward is fine. But I've noticed that was only like a week ago. But I've noticed that comedy clubs are not dealing with hecklers like they used to. Just like this crazy guy in Vegas was like the last straw of crazy white men. Where now, like, when a guy's shit-faced at a comedy show, the bouncers are like, can't take a chance. Because I noticed I was in Falmouth this last week, actually on my birthday. Go on stage. And by the way, I don't tell. A lot of you might be wondering, like, Will, I know you personally. I'm your friend. I didn't know it was your birthday. Yeah, that's because I'm a fucking grown man. I don't get excited about my birthday. And I don't need a bunch of people, bugging me about it. I think I came from a fucked up family where, like, everything is ball busting all the time, and so I can't enjoy anything, like, because on my family, like, it's your birthday, do you feel old? It's almost like teasing you all the time for everything. So I just don't like my birthday. So you can blame my childhood for that. But anyway, I got this show down in Falmouth, and I'm getting heckled by this fucking drunk, I would say younger than middle-aged, but just drunk white dude, loner white dude, all alone. He's heckling me a little bit off the top of the show, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, to be honest, there it fucking goes again. I was not in the mood, really, to do this show. It was a bad drive there. I walk in, it's just a bunch of fucking old people. I was like, this is a paycheck gig. I just want to do this and get the fuck out of here. So I wasn't in like this great fucking comedy mood. I was kind of in a fucking shitty mood. And I'm the first comic. I go up there and like everyone's I'm just trying to get through my fucking act, and this guy's giving me a hard time, and they weren't even like good heckles. He was like, just yelling out random shit. And then and I was like, what the fuck is this all about? And I kind of basically just said, after a couple of times, I didn't even want to like get cute or do anything. I was just like, shut up, right? So then I get off stage, and there's these two big guys who work for the company I was working for there, and they got like serious looks on their faces, and they were like, yeah, we wanted to make sure that guy wasn't around when you got off stage, and we're just not taking any chances after what happened in Vegas, and that guy could be a psycho, he could be anybody. And I was like, wow, this is like a new thing. And then I heard from fellow comedian Dan Crumb that after I left, the man was arrested. The police came and arrested the guy because he was causing problems. Now, here's the thing I forgot to mention about this particular comedy show. It was a fundraiser for the local police department, and there was many local members of the local police department in attendance. So if you're gonna show up alone to a comedy show and be shit-faced and act really weird, here's a tip: try not to make it a police fundraiser, because you will get arrested. And that's what happened to this guy. But I don't think he would have had as many problems just even a few months ago. people would have been like, whatever, he's just a nut. But now with this fucking Las Vegas stuff and all that, people be going crazy. And the other big news this week was Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein getting in trouble out there in Hollywood. Long story short, this could be a whole... I should really save this for next week because I could really talk about this shit all day long. Because, wow, I totally agree with everyone that Harvey Weinstein is a jerk, a scumbag, a lecherous man. Totally agree with everyone. What I don't agree with is the fact that it's not a reason now to just fucking hate all white men on earth even more. That's what I'm saying. I love whenever something happens in the world, and now it's like Harvey Weinstein is a movie studio mogul. This is a tradition of these guys being psycho fucking megalomaniacs that goes back as far as the studio system goes. Is that right? No. Is it the way it is? Yes. That's something you could say for about every fucking thing right now in the world. People seem to get on Twitter and Facebook every morning and complain that the world is not a safe space, HR-run, perfect utopia where everyone is perfectly in line with you and making your day easier at all times. That will never happen. That is not how life works. That is not how the world works. To grow in life, you must endure some uncomfortable things. It is just the story of life. You cannot be happy without knowing what it feels like to be sad, and you cannot be successful without knowing what it feels like to fail, and you can't know what a hot day feels like unless you know what a cold day feels like. It's what it is. And sadly, race has nothing to do with it, but there are always going to be good people and bad people in this world, and varying people in between. And some people will go back and forth between being a good person and a bad person several times in one lifetime. But what's never going to happen is all of one race is going to change just because you want them to. But even that statement is stupid because no one race acts one way. Yes, there are stereotypes in every race. That can be true. But it really comes down to individuals. And the fact that you're a man, or the fact that you're a woman, and the fact doesn't make, or white, or black, or Spanish, or handicapped, none of this shit makes you any better or any worse than anyone else. It doesn't mean that you deserve better treatment. It doesn't mean that you deserve worse treatment. It doesn't mean that you deserve to be sexually harassed, but it also doesn't mean that you deserve to not be sexually harassed. It just means that you gotta do what you gotta do to get through life. Now, have I been sexually harassed? Abso-fucking-lutely. Have I ever complained about it? No. Is it different when you're a guy than when it's a girl? Yes. I will say that is true. But have I been sexually harassed by women who I've seen on social media this week complaining about sexual harassment? 100% yes. And that's what bothers me about this whole thing. Because when a woman wants to be a fucking asshole to a guy, it's just because she's drunk or because she went through a bad breakup or this. But when a guy does something bad, he's a fucking piece of shit. Now, Harvey Weinstein is a guy that I've known about all the way back since the beginning of the podcast when I was 15 and smoking butts out there at that all-boys Catholic school, because Harvey Weinstein produced Good Will Hunting, which was the movie that kind of got me into acting and film. He produced most of the best movies of really the past 30 years, because there haven't been great movies since the 90s. Not a lot of them. Like really great, original, not rebooted, not fucking action movies. Like the indie films of Miramax in the 90s were really the best. That's why it sold for so much fucking money to Disney. But I digress. Alas, I digress. Harvey Weinstein was known as being old school. He was known as being a complete fucking asshole. He was known for biting people's heads off. He was known for screaming at people. He was known for being a bulldog. And people used to tell these stories in a charming way. If you're a person who watches the Oscars every year, you're used to hearing his name, and you're used to seeing almost a wince and a smile every time he's brought up. Oh, Harvey, it was great working with you. You know, you're a little tough sometimes. Big laugh from the crowd. Ha, ha, ha. So it was all fun and games, and it was all a joke when Harvey Weinstein was just a piece of shit. But now he's a piece of shit who also is a creep and whips his dick out and shows it to chicks. I hear now, I saw the news today, there's some like real crime allegations coming out that he actually may have raped someone, which is, God knows, way over any line, and when you're physically hurting people and all that shit. And even sexual harassment is fucked up. Don't get me wrong. But to pretend that Gwyneth Paltrow is like a hero for talking about something that happened to her maybe 25 fucking years ago that didn't even really happen. It was almost happened, and her dad's famous, and her mom's famous. Like, her parents are famous people, and so is Angelina Jolie's parents, and everyone knows this shit goes on. So it's just don't get fucking played, you know what I mean? Like, Hollywood is a trendy fucking place, and right now the trend is to hate Harvey Weinstein, so they're all putting out statements. That doesn't mean they all fucking mean what they're saying. Now, I don't have any reason to defend Harvey Weinstein at all, and I really don't want to. I think he's probably a piece of shit, and he probably wouldn't defend me if there was something going on with me. But I just, as a human being, watching another human being basically put in the stocks and having tomatoes thrown at them until they commit suicide, I feel is a little bit of a bad precedent for our country to just be on all the time. As soon as someone fucks up, as soon as someone does something bad, we call for their job, we call for their reputation, we call for their life. We pretty much harass them. I mean, if you didn't consider the fact of what it feels like to be Harvey Weinstein, and yes, he is a monster, and you're probably thinking he deserves all this because if you fucking harass women, you deserve all this. But, you know, most people go through the struggles of their life privately. And this is still just one guy who's up there on a national stage who's fucking been, his shit has not stank in about 25 fucking years, and now he's one of the most hated men on earth. And any tweet or anything he looks at about himself has got to be unbelievably fucking negative. And, you know, I used to say the same thing about Britney Spears. I used to be like, if this chick kills herself, we did it. And I just don't like being a part of that. Now, I bought the fucking, I bought the New York Post, which I only buy in shitty times like this because I wanted to read about what was going on with him. I fell for the whole trap, but it's just another motherfucking, you know, witch hunt type thing. Well, not a witch hunt, because the guy really is a piece of shit. You shouldn't do stuff like this. And the world has changed now where people can, you know, be believed when they're not famous. You can go out and you have Twitter and you have your own outlets to get these words out and stuff like that, and that's good. But I think the bravest people are these unknown models and actresses who started this whole thing, not these new, not Angelina Jolie and Gwyneth Paltrow and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck coming back like after this guy made them Oscar winners and big stars, to come out and be like, oh, I never knew any of this went on, and I'm so fucking shocked, and God, guys, I hate him too, you know? I mean, what I'm saying is, take a long look at that, right, before you really believe it. It's just bullshit. Just fucking Hollywood bullshit, just like smoking. It's not cool, and I'm done with it, but I'm going to talk a lot more about sexual harassment on next week's episode, because in show business, it is a common thing. And everyone's on Twitter this week. Every girl I know is on there fucking going like, guys, I got my shoulders rubbed by my manager at Applebee's, and let me tell you guys, this shit happens. And what I want to say to that type of person is, yeah, it happens to fucking everyone, you know? It's called life. You get mugged, you get fucking people try and molest you, people cut you off in traffic. That's life. it's how you deal with it. And honest to God, a lot of women know that they can use this shit both ways. You know, a lot of women have gotten good things through sex, and they, especially back in the old days, men too, by the way, men use their sexuality to get gigs. It's a very weird, dicey, shark-infested waters out there in the adult world, and you're going to have to navigate them. And this guy, this podcaster, is going to have to navigate them without cigarettes for the foreseeable future. But thank you guys for listening to my podcast this week. If you're a young dude out there, treat the ladies with respect. You know, they don't want to hook up with you. They don't want to hook up with you. Let them go, man. Don't ask them to watch you jerk off. That's something I've never, ever asked a girl in my life. But I do know a lot of guys who have asked for that, so it is a thing that happens. I consider myself lucky that I've been born without whatever gene it is that makes you get off on fucking bullying people, because I've never been a bully, never been the kind of guy who likes, like, for me, a chick really has to be into it for me to even be into it. So if she was not having a good time, like if I was forcing her in any way, or even if I thought she was just doing it because I was powerful, wouldn't work for me. So I'm lucky in that way, I guess. Maybe I'm a good person. Maybe I'm lucky I was just raised that way. My parents may have teased me about my birthday, but they didn't fucking raise, a weirdo masturbator, public masturbator. But because believe me, I masturbate. But they, they just, this shit kind of goes down. I don't want to belittle anything, but fellas, treat the ladies with respect. You'll go a lot farther in life, and you'll probably end up getting your dick sucked more that way than if you're just trying too hard. But also women, just realize the street goes both ways. Just fucking treat your fellow human beings with respect, men and women. That's all we got to do. Treat them better than you treat yourself, better than you treat your family. And then treat your family as good as you treat strangers. And then you'll that's the key to life. Then you'll be a happy person. But I had this whole weekend. But this is what's so funny. This Harvey Weinstein thing. Everyone's shitting on men as like white men. Believe me, we must be the fucking biggest piece of shits on the planet, because you can just shit on white men all day and no one will ever call you racist. I could never be like, Chinese men are real bad drivers. People be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'd never be like, black men are often absentee fathers. People be like, go fuck yourself. It's like, white women are cunts. People would hate me, but you could say anything about white men right now on Twitter and get 1,000 retweets and no one calling you a racist. But what was the point of this? What made me think of this? Oh, yeah, I remember. So this friend of mine, who's a comedian, a girl, good friend of mine, when we first met, I was in a relationship, she wasn't. And then we were both single, and because we were friends, of course, and we're both fun people, and we're good friends, of course we discussed the idea of maybe hooking up, maybe dating. But me personally, I was like, you know what? I've dated comics. It's a terrible fucking time. It's not something I'm really great at. It's not something a lot of comics are really great at. I don't think I want to date a comic again. And also, I'm friends with this chick. I don't want to date her and fucking fuck up in some way, and then we're not speaking to each other anymore, and it's weird. We work together a lot. It would be bad. So I'm thinking ahead, right? So I basically, although she's a beautiful girl, don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't want to, kind of, but it's like I just think it wouldn't work out. I don't think our personalities match up in the right way as far as like what we like to do with our free time. I don't think it would work out. But that's it. It's like I'm old enough now where I'm like, yo, you don't just try hooking up with your friends like if nothing's happening, because it doesn't really fix fucking anything. It just takes a friend out of your life. So that was my plan, right? So which is fine, and she totally understood. But the thing was, she got shit-faced all weekend, because in today's world, you can see someone on Snapchat, Instagram, and whatever. So I'm seeing her day drinking on Snapchat and on Instagram, and then and then seen her at shows and stuff. Long story short, this chick must have hit me up to hook up, like, you know, and this is the fucking thing. You're laughing right now because you're thinking, dude, you're a guy and you're complaining about an attractive woman who wants to have sex with you. And that is ridiculous, but it's a double standard. I wasn't in the fucking mood. I'm trying to quit smoking. I don't want to hook up with this friend and make a bad decision and fuck up my workplace stuff. I don't want to, like, piss her off. I know I'm going to piss this chick off if I date her in any way. And I'm just old. I'm getting old. I don't want to fuck, like, whoever. I just didn't want to do it, right? It's my right. And, you know, just because I'm a guy with a dick doesn't mean I have to fuck every single chick that wants to fuck. So I didn't feel like it. For very mundane reasons. Didn't want any drama in my life. Didn't want... that was number one. Don't want drama in my life with the drama of hooking up with another comic. It can be a pain in the ass, right? So, this chick just got shit-faced 3 times over the weekend and was kind of giving me a hard time about why I don't hook up with her or whatever. And I'm thinking this whole time, I'm like, if this were reversed, I'd be a fucking, like, asshole. You know, sending a chick, like, whatever. You know, if I'm sending dick pics to a chick who doesn't want to hook up with me, aren't I a fucking asshole? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I'm just thinking, like, this is the double standard right here. Like, this chick is, you know, by the way, she's still my friend, and I would never call this sexual harassment, but I think a lot of women out there would. Or a lot of women on Twitter the past week would. So it's kind of like, I was like, you know, but to me, I'm like, this is just the shit you deal with. So I'm like, waiting for her to not be drunk so we can, you know, so this will stop, and then it will. And I'm like, it's just texting, whatever. But it's not someone really freaking me out. But I'm just like, women do this shit too. When I was on my 21st birthday, I got shit-faced, and this chick I went to school with took me. I was like blackout in a chair, not even like, blah, you know what I mean? Like completely fucked up. And this chick I went to school with, who was also drunk, but not as drunk as me, dragged me, and she had been wanting to hook up with me for a long time. I didn't want to hook up with her because I thought she was crazy. She dragged me up the stairs of this fucking bar to, like, where the kitchen was and pulled me into a dark corner and started to jerk my soft, drunken dick off through my jeans until one of my friends went to the bathroom, saw it, and then got a bunch of my friends, male and female, to come over, look at us, and laugh, and then they stopped it. I don't remember anything about this. I only know it based on a, you know, quote, funny story everyone told the next day. But I remember even then being like, yeah, this is kind of funny, whatever. But if I was like a chick and a dude had dragged me up into a dark corner of the upstairs of the bar and was just fingering me while I was unconscious, wouldn't that be kind of like fucked up? So that was in 2001. So I'm sure this shit still fucking happens. That chick's an actress in LA now. And I'm where I am. But the point is, I don't wake up in the middle of the night screaming because that happens to me, and I don't really deserve any financial thing because that's just a thing that happened in my life and a thing that I got over. And I'm not saying that you should put up with this shit, but I'm also not saying that someone else should solve your problems for you or put out your fights for you. If you feel uncomfortable working for someone, do not work for them. It's that fucking simple. And every second of your day, you have a choice. If someone makes you uncomfortable, walk the fuck out. It's a free country. And if someone physically puts a hand on you, that's a whole new ball game, and you can start fucking with them and asking for some serious money. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. That's it for this week. Ended on kind of a serious note with all the sexual harassment talk. And I know it's such a minefield. It's such a land minefield. Some people say minefield. I like to say the whole thing. It's such a land minefield that I just walked through talking about sexual harassment. But it is a real thing. But, guys, everyone is just way, way, way too fucking sensitive right now when it comes to race, when it comes to fucking sexuality. excuse me, when it comes to this harassment shit, everyone needs to just nut the fuck up and be a grown-up about this thing, you know? Just fucking stop your bitching. God's sake. Even with Trump, I don't like him either, but he's there. Fucking move on. Get on to something else. Twitter is so boring right now. But anyway, I could just go on and on. Maybe I'll do another podcast on the way home so that way I can get, next week's out really good. But, yeah, man, remember, no one told you they love you today. I do. Peace out, everybody. Oh, wait. Wow, that's a couple fake ones in this one. One more thank you to Jessica, what is your last name? Jessica Hudson, that's her name. Thank you again for your donation. If you want to donate, go over to willnoonan.com. Click the donate button or click podcast button and then the donate button. I appreciate it. You can also go to me on Twitter and just say what's up, Will Noonan. I'm everywhere, motherfuckers. I added a bunch of dates to my calendar. I finally got on top of that shit. Pray for Joe. Don't harass motherfuckers. And remember, this is the real one. If no one told you they love you today, I do. Peace out. It's the sound of me dragging my beard hairs across the microphone. Pretty thin beard day. Just some stub. Beard on the mic. Beard on the mic. Beard on the mic. Beard off the mic. Beard on the mic. Beard on the mic, beard off the mic, beard off the mic, beard on the mic, beard on the mic, beard off the mic, beard off the mic. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Demo. 3, 2, 1.